Hello everybody, welcome to another rapid speedrun game against Mated, rated 1539, who plays the Sicilian. So, we play the accelerated Rossolimo. With this pawn structure, we shoot our bishop outside of our pawn chain and try to get rid of it. We take his bishop with our own. You could also play a move like a4 there, it's possible. He takes with the knight, which doesn't put the knight on its favorite square, so we don't mind seeing that at all. Now we're just going to connect our pawns, bring our knight out. The move order didn't matter. You could have brought your knight out last turn as he goes for the fianchetto. We're ready to castle and continue development. Will we throw in an early pawn thrust? We'll try to control ourselves, but f5 is always in the air. Let's castle, as this doesn't create a threat. He develops his knight to the side. No particular threat. He's preparing castling, avoiding maybe some e5 pawn push, something like that. I'm just going to develop my knight towards the center. Simple enough move. Finish my development. He's castling. I want to continue my development. Bishop d2. Over defends the knight. Just gets out of the way of the heavies. It's a form of development. You could also have gone to e3, so you could put your queen on d2 and make the battery. That's possible. But in this scenario, maybe we'll go queen e1 and swing it out this way. Another option. Oh yeah. Also, his knight on the side helps him control f5. I didn't point that out. So that if I push, I mean, it still kind of doesn't make sense because you still have to take with the pawn unless you're going to sack your knight. So you could win a pawn, but your king cover still gets messed up in a decent way. In any case, let's prepare a little bit more. I'm always rushing these things, these attacks. I'd rather over prepare and miss my opportunity a couple times than launch premature attacks that aren't justified again and again. So he clearly wants to go b5 and expand in Sicilian style. There's always a4 to try to prevent that and slow it down. There's also ignoring him. I'm going to go for the ignoring him option and move my queen. He's trying to kick my knight, which I don't particularly mind. I should probably get my rook outside of this diagonal at some point. Because like if he kicks the knight, even if I went to the side to defend the pawn and he attacks the knight, you can't play b3 because of your rook. So, and you know what? I'd rather jump my knight towards the king side anyway. So I'm going to go rook b1, prophylaxis. How's this prophylaxis? Well, I'm anticipating b4. I don't want to put my knight to a5. I'd rather jump it towards the center and reroute it to e3, helping support the kingside attack. So by putting my rook on b1, I get out of all future tactics and support the b pawn. So black plays f5, a move that tries to gain space, tries to justify putting the knight on h6, and stops us from pushing f5 ourselves. Drawback, does create some weaknesses. Oops, wrong diagonal. Also weakens the diagonal, some squares. Maybe long term we'll get to use it. For right now, we are not going to take and bring his pieces in unless we have a tactic. Queen e6 check. Does it do anything? It's nice, but like it doesn't win anything, so I'm not going to take him. So how do I build up my position and or pressure? Well, this move does severely weaken the light squares. I would say these the most. And this one, these two the most. I could probably use that Knight in here, knight in here. Trying to take immediate advantage of the drawback. How does he cover that square? He has nothing except the king, and the king won't be able to. That's so odd. That's so awkward for him. His queen can't touch this. The knight can't go to the squares. Yeah, so knight g5 is strong. He can't even move his king. The only potential thing that could touch the square because of check. So if he wants to get out of the fork, he should move one of the heavies. So let's say he goes like queen b6, also looking at the check. We still jump in here. We could move our king. Okay, he moves the other heavy and prevents us from jumping in here entirely. But this is a terrible spot. This can't work for so many reasons. I didn't even mention this because my eyes just go crazy by seeing this. His bishop and knight are screaming, "That's my square." They both think it's their square, right? They're both very entitled minor pieces. They're both claiming it, and the rook's like, "No, I'm gonna just sit here." It's a terrible decision. Yeah, I get what he wants to do, but you could have just moved your piece like away, because now not only are you blocking your minor piece activity, but you're walking into forward knight jump, hitting the rook, which means you have to like you can't go here, so you have to go back. So this move makes no sense. So he needed to think a little longer than whatever, however many seconds he thought, considering he's up 2 minutes, because now he loses the game. Alternatively, pushing the pawn, hitting the rook, kicking it out that way. If he takes and you take, it's covered. So that's another potential move. But I think jumping the knight in the center is simpler. Pawn play is for the gods among us. It's a lot easier for me to be like, oh, jump my knight in, attack the rook. It's so easy. Thinking, oh, e5, takes, okay, it's defended. Like, that's not hard, but jumping the knight, ooh, just so much more baby town frolics. And now he's he knows exactly what he just did. He knows it was such a dumb move. He just face palmed. He might resign because of how bad this must feel, but he also might play on considering it's not like I'm winning a queen. If he can just live with the fact he's going to lose the exchange at least, he might try to win. He might be like, "Oh, I'm the higher rated player. I can win down an exchange or draw or whatever." And now his clock is ticking. Funny how that works. You see, folks, use your time. Time is a resource in chess. It's just management of brain usage. That's all it is. You're not actually managing the time, right? Time's doing its thing. It has its own rhythm. It doesn't care about you. You're managing your own brain usage, efficient usage of brain based on the time parameter. So he doesn't have a good move. His rook's hit. He might just leave it here. I mean, if he's going to retreat it anyway, yeah, and walk into the fork, he might as well just give it up right now. However, that doesn't stop us from taking and then jumping our other knight in. So he goes knight to the side. Obviously, we're not going to trade that. We're going to take his rook. A bishop on this diagonal would be nice, but we don't have one. Okay, he takes back with the bishop. See, now the bishop has its square. It's happy again. But our knight is going to find its way into this beautiful outpost on the sixth, making it an octopus knight. And now we want to secure it so that it can never be kicked out. And so even if we were not material, a knight like that would win you the game for strategic reasons. So he lifts his queen. This attacks the knight. The best way to secure it is with a pawn. We can't hop this guy here, but we can take. Sure, he can take back and eliminate that pawn, but our queen will have been opened up. to the defense of the knight, which is key. Um, so let's see. What other moves do we have? Let's not auto move. I mean, this knight's loose, but let's secure our knight first. Open up our queen. And we're up in exchange with a better position as well. Because just because you're up in exchange doesn't mean you have the better position. You could be up in exchange with the worst position, but we're up in exchange with a better position. So he takes with the knight, so he doesn't ruin his pawn structure. It's not quite an outpost, as g4 always hangs over his head, and it doesn't exactly attack anything, so I'm going to leave it there for now. My bishop is staring into a wall. Bishop c3 makes a lot of sense, eliminating his strongest piece. Can't do much with the rooks as of yet. They'll probably find their way through the e-file once I move my queen. But I think first we would want to, like if we did want to play g4, he has a lot of dark square control. We need to get rid of this dark square bishop, and I think now's the time. If he takes, we can take with the queen. If he hits the queen with the knight, unfortunate you can't stay on the diagonal, but you could just go back to d2 and then coordinate your rooks. Okay, so he throws this move in first, because I guess he wants his knight here, but it's not so impressively placed due to our d3 pawn not being on d4, controlling the knight. Okay, so let's take this guy. That's what we've been wanting. Get it off the board. Trades or wins, as we are up material. And he doesn't have bishops, so it's actually rook for knight, which is way worse in most positions than rook for bishop, because bishops can fly across the board, as can a rook. Knights, they're kind of clumsy. Rooks, not as clumsy if they have open lines. So, what just happened? We took his bishop. He takes back with the pawn, removing. Okay, I see. He definitely just wants a rook here because of this alignment, because of my knight's placement. And the knight is like somewhat trapped, so we need to act immediately so we don't lose the game, or at least have to give back the material. So how do we solidify the knight when it's trapped? I think with g4. If he puts a knight here, that's a bit odd though. We could potentially lift the rook up and over. Also, this knight's hanging, so queen here is interesting. Where does his knight go? If it goes forward, he can't move because of the rook, actually. Wait, so queen here might just be an easy solution. Like there was g4, f5, which is an interesting sequence. There's rook up and over, which is an interesting sequence. But then you might have to calculate some stuff like knight in here. But if I go here, I guess he could still move this knight in here. But then we could definitely play f5, and I'm going to go for this one because his knight's hanging. So he doesn't have time. I mean, he could still do this and trade knight for knight, but that's good for us. He does go for it, but this is good for us because this simplifies our life in a huge way. Unless I miscalculated, but we get a knight, he gets a knight. If he takes with the queen, even better, as we get the queen trade. If he doesn't, okay, thanks, guy. So we're going to take that queen, and then we're going to throw a rook in the e-file and say, pretty sure we're up in exchange. What are you doing? Right? Like if I'm down in exchange, I'm going to try to keep my queen, my rooks, and create some counterplay to win a pawn. And because if I can get a pawn or two pawns, then I'm going to feel a lot better trading down. So he improves his king and says, okay, he wants to trade on his terms, but that doesn't change the fact that he's down in exchange and we're forcing the trades. So we're going to take. Now he has this knight move, but this comes with check, so it's not like he has time to go for this pawn. If we do give the check, he'll probably move his king forward, but if we get behind his position, I mean, he can never take more pawns than us, right? However, I don't necessarily want to let his king in, but where is his king going? Kind of nowhere. I would like to infiltrate and attack at one turn. I don't want to kind of go one and then two, because that's kind of slow. I mean, it's still winning, but I want to do this more clever way. So I think king f2, improving my king. It acts as like a dark square bishop dominating the knight, so that when I play g4, he doesn't have the forward squares. And if he goes here, I mean, I have c3, and where's the knight actually heading? I thought was my question. Not entirely sure because the knight was defending the infiltration. Oh, okay, so he's blocking it like this, but this is almost helping me shore up my defenses, improve my king. I feel like this has only benefited me so far. Hopefully you can kind of see where I'm coming from, and hopefully you wouldn't feel bad like, oh no, his knight's been pressuring me the past couple turns. It's more like, no, it's been improving my position. And at the right time, we can take the knight if we know it's a winning king and pawn endgame, which requires more knowledge. Okay, so he plays some of this. We need to break down, there's too many pawns, right? We need to trade them for our rook's sake. So let's start. Might as well play g4. If you play a3, he'll probably play something like h5, trying to stop you. So let's just go g4. Now he can't stop us. He trades this way, but I feel like this gives my king even easier access than if the pawn was here, stopping some squares. Because now, like I said, we can take the knight, and when he takes back, we're quick, right? We're quick to eat his stuff. He moves his knight, but what's the threat? A random check. We move our king back, no big deal. But now we get infiltrate. I mean, he's probably going to go check to save the pawn and plant the knight. But I mean, the rook is going to be way too strong. His king can't go forward. He'll have to try to move the c or b pawn at some point, which shouldn't work, but I don't also want to calculate that stuff. So hopefully he doesn't do it. So he does give the random check, but we don't have to go back. We could go forward and attack this pawn, which he can't defend. And I mean, here, if we did take it, he still can't. Oh, wait, here, our rook's hit. I guess we could just go back and control his knight. Yeah, let's go up. I'm not going to go pawn hunting with my rook. I'm going to keep it controlling his knight because oh, he doesn't even do it, but I was going to say because my king is going to be eating the pawns, so I don't need my rook for that. He goes there attacking this pawn, but we can take it, right? We take it, he takes it. We take it, and then we get a queen, right? Like, I don't know. Just take it. You see, you have to. So people are so bent on material, their mind doesn't even process rook takes knight. But as soon as you understand pawn in games, like, who cares? He saves his pawn, we push our pawn. He goes up, and now this is called the red carpet. As the VIP goes down, with the paparazzi can't do anything about it. He moves quickly as if that somehow changes the nature of the game the faster he releases the mouse. And now you can see why you need to be looking out for taking his stuff, for giving back the exchange. Okay, he takes. You could take back. Um, we will. You could also give checks, but if I give these two checks, well, I suppose not this one, but if I gave this one, it'll help him go down. I kind of want to restrict the board. So in light of that, in contrast, like if we push this pawn, we're stopping his king from going down, right? So now this check forces this, so we're trying to control it. You can also go here and kick him up. And like this, he goes up, and now he's restricted only to 2 rows. So it's easier to corral the king that way. And as long as he has pawn moves, you don't have to worry about stalemate. You don't even have to think about it until he exhausts his pawn moves. But hopefully you know how to win with a queen and king without stalemating your opponent. I have no idea why he's playing. And I know I've spoken about this before, but you can always move your queen a knight's jump away from a king. And you see how I have a box here? We can close the box using knight jumps, right? So watch, we'll bring the king in. Well, he's kind of ruining it, but watch, when we'll bring the king in, he'll waste his last turn. And then I'll make a king move. Then he'll have to move his king. And then I'll show you. Or is he going to stall for 5 minutes? Like, what are you doing? So basically, wherever the king goes, we're going to move one knight's jump away with our queen. Because if you keep, like a lot of newbies, they give the check. And then the king just runs. And they give the check, and the king just runs. And they just keep checking the king instead of restricting the king. But by going a knight's jump away, you create this weird box. No matter which knight jump it is, it's just a different box. Some are more rectangular than others, more square or rectangle. Um, so he wastes his last move, and now he has to move his king. So you see the box is here, but now one knight jump away, and the box changes. And he's going to move his king, and now one knight jump away, and the box changes, and he's suddenly on the last row. As soon as he's on the last row, you're free to just walk your king in for the checkmate, but you can still use the knight's move theory to close the box further. You can only close it one more time, and then it'll be stalemate. So watch, you see one knight jump away, the box is closed, he's getting stuck in the corner. Now we don't do the knight jump because it's stalemate. Now you walk your king in, and so you don't need to know anything. And if you're super low on time, you can use this technique to just knight jump, knight jump, knight jump, edge of the board, walk your king in. It's very easy on the brain. Also, I don't know the actual fast ways to do the checkmates. I know that one because it's reliable, and I don't have to think. I don't know the good ways. I never learned it. Um, so anyway, we have a pretty good game. One mistake, but so what? So we put our pawns in the center, and we're ready to develop in castle. Quick developing for free. Force move for free. Center development. Development center. King safety development. Development and center. Development. I guess you maybe put it to E3, but it's fine. Okay. This is development and center. And this was prophylaxis. I told you you get out of the diagonal and you're ready to move your knight wherever you want. Engine's favorite move. Oh, that's why. My move is fine. They're just saying I have this opportunity now to play F5. So you actually can blast through immediately because, as mentioned, he does have to ruin his king cover, even even if it's a pawn sack. So to show you guys, so you can be more familiar too. If he takes, right, that ruins his king, and it actually says it's winning for white if he takes. If you take back, you go, oh no, he wins the pawn, and here it's a draw. So it's important not to be like, oh, I need to get my pawn back. If you take, you're down that pawn anyway. Even if you don't take, you're down the pawn. You get what I'm saying? Like, if you take this and he takes, you're down a pawn. But if you don't include that, you're still only down a pawn. So you don't need to try, like, you don't gain anything by taking this except helping his knight. And so the correct response is actually Queen H4, trying to get on the king side and start the attack, right? Not to go pawn hunting. We would try to remove the pawn to attack the king, which is thematic in these Grand Prix type setups. So we played a prophylactic move, but we did have an energetic move we could have played. So we keep that in mind. And it's funny because even though he's trying to stop it, still extremely strong. And it says this move's a blunder. And so f5 is an idea in Sicilian lines to gain space and challenge the center, but you do have to be careful about the e6 square. And specifically here, it already goes to +2 because of knight g5, which we determined immediately takes advantage of it. So now we just improve a piece for free. His best move is knight b6, walking into the fork. I'm not actually surprised because considering what happened in the game, he didn't have that many good moves here. He tries this, which clearly doesn't work, improving a piece for free. Free stuff. Improving a piece for free at +3. Okay, let's just say force move. And now best move is actually g4. So it's interesting to note that even with the dark square bishop on the board, they still like g4 immediate. Probably because you can just keep pushing. Yeah, so that's, I mean, that was one of my plans that I mentioned, g4 and f5 to help solidify the knight. But first we threw this in to try to challenge the bishop, improving our piece. Okay, free stuff because trades are wins. And we take his best piece off the board. And now I did think this was clever by him, trying to include the rook with the alignment. And g4 here, while white still does have an advantage, it's not like it is right now, which is +3.3, completely winning. So the only completely winning move is queen e4, which we found. So I'm glad we found that. Because at first I'm like, wait a second. Do we have a resource here? And can he always stop us with one of these moves? But luckily queen e4 works, and it's because our pieces are decently placed, so that's nice. And his, not so much. So he immediately blunders because we take a piece, he takes a piece, we take a queen, he takes a queen, but it's +4 because this is a losing endgame, because he has nothing to speak of in the position and we're up rook for knight. Is it possible to mess up as white? Yes. But our pawns are all connected. They're not weak and all over the place, overextended or anything like that. So we're compact enough that we should be winning. So we just offer the trade, and I've mentioned I like this construction because you realize the rook can't avoid the trade. It's stuck. So you don't have to trade because it's still stuck, so you can just keep improving. But we include it, another trade, then we improve our king, super important piece. Especially it can definitely contest the knight. Improve for free. Oh, they're saying this was my one mistake of the game at +4.3, improving my king to the center. Come on, that's crazy. Okay, so just improving my king, not a mistake. Sure, there's probably better engine, this, that. Who cares? I'm bringing my king towards the center. I'm blasting through at +5. Let's calm down, engine. G4. There's 7 pawns on the board, and the 8th file he's clogging with a knight, right? Wait a second. C4. I just realized H4 is clogging with the knight, and I was going to say, so unless you kick it, but you can kick it, because how did he touch the knight, and don't you just win the knight? So they call it an inaccuracy because the eval is basically the same as winning the knight. That's so funny. It's still +5 either way. But yeah, definitely play C4, check. Because the rook's attacking the knight, and no matter what he does, he loses the knight. And so even though you're obviously winning no matter what you do, definitely take the knight. If anything, this would have been a bigger mistake than the other thing. Oh wait, was that why they said that was a mistake? Oh yeah, that's why. Okay, okay, okay. It's because even though the eval's basically the same, the knight's hanging. That's funny. Look at the graph when they say that. But it is a free piece, so yeah, definitely take. And you see this in so many of my games. When I'm so winning, I miss winning moves. That's crazy. But anyway, definitely play c4 here. But we were in our winning mode. We only took 2 seconds to make the move. We just threw our king up the board while I was ranting. Fine. We do it again. Just throw our thing up the board because we know it's winning. And it is. It's still +5. We get our king in. This is just unstoppable. There's no holding it. There's no hope. Knights cannot compete with rooks in a deep end game. He tries to be cheeky, but this only improves our king. And the best move is rook takes e6. Clearly winning game. You do anything else, you're asking for trouble. You have to disconnect from this pawn. So you take a pawn or go king somewhere. He takes this. This guy's hanging. Sure, you're still better winning, but you guys will mess that up for sure. Who are we kidding? So take the knight. There's no way to possibly hang all your pawns. The second he takes, all you have to do is get your king to g7 and not lose your f pawn. Right? Don't go there and disconnect and let him attack you. So stay connected, one at a time. One at a time, red carpet. If his king goes anywhere, you could just walk the pawn up. If the king goes up, well then you need to VIP it and escort it. VIP escort, and the game's over. Good luck in your chess. See you in the next one.